Hey everybody, this is Kenny C from Chillin with Jeff and Kenny C. And my next guest at this time is a recording artist. He is ranked very high up there in Reverbnation. I'm happy to be joined with a man who, believe it or not, his last name is pronounced the same as my first name. So you got a Kenny and a Kenny. I'm joined with Rod Kinny. He's joining with me right now. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and I just want to point out the fact that my first name and your last name is pronounced kind of the same way. Just thought I'd point
Yeah,
that out.
different vowel.
Yeah,
That's all. But
yeah, different vowels.
in fact, there are many times when people will spell my name Kenny.
Oh,
Just thought I mentioned.
yeah, that's very unfortunate. That shouldn't be that. Just your last name alone should not be hard to be spelled, and I can't believe they do that, or anyone would do that.
Sometimes.
So let's go ahead and begin, man. And like I said earlier, I first heard of you through Reverbnation. I've checked out your tracks, very cool. I enjoy the music, and I'm happy to have you on. What made you decide to get into music?
Well, I started out at a very young age, just always being drawn to music, and from then, in my formative years, I went into school band and choir, and then played in rock bands. For many years, I was just a bass player in a band, and from that, I started to write songs, and then I wanted to get into writing songs for myself, composing more extended pieces, and to begin singing too, as a singer-songwriter, and presenting it that way. I guess I've always been just drawn to it, to music. I can't explain it in words. It's just just something in it that really feeds my soul, and that I really find that I need in life.
That's awesome, man. And let me ask you this: as far as like you say, you started at a young age. Obviously, you had to perform in front of people. And when you first started performing, did you get any sign of butterflies? Were you nervous performing in front of people?
Yes, I was. I still get that a bit, because I am not. I'm more of an introverted type, and it's not the most natural thing for me to speak. Right now, however, when I perform, I'm really pretty much at ease. I'm much more, nervous when I'm trying to present a song just verbally in between songs than when I actually perform. So, but yeah, when I first started out, especially, I had the butterflies and the nerves. But I think once you do this a while, and you're thinking much more about just giving a good performance and preparing yourself, and so that really doesn't come up as much now, the nerves, that sort of thing.
I guess when it comes to the performance side of music, it does take some time to get used to performing in front of crowds, whether it's a small crowd, whether it's a big crowd. But I guess it should be considered normal to have the nerves, But once you hit on stage, once that first song is played, then everything else falls into place.
Yeah, you tend to get what I call into the flow of it, and you're just allowing it to happen, as opposed to being very self-conscious, and thinking too much about how you're coming across, and going into any sort of panic mode if there's a sound problem or something like that. You learn to deal with these sort of things, and they're just a fact of performing live. It's a live performance. You know, my voice may crack occasionally, something like that, but I've learned to work through it and to really just have fun and be into it. And I think that's what comes across. And I think even if you don't have your greatest performance, I mean, people can at least appreciate you.
That's definitely understandable. So who do you consider as musical influences in your career?
It's quite varied. Peter Gabriel is one of Genesis and early Genesis. In the mid-'80s, I got into Level 42 quite a bit out of England. They are more of what is called funk rock or funk sort of pop. Some of their stuff is. Kate Bush, I like. These are more British artists. Todd Rundgren was into. Al Stewart, Ambrosia, of which that is my producer's band, a man by the name of Mr. Joe Puerta. And also, too, like any of the artists that David Foster has worked with, they're kind of more the highbrow type artists. I do like Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, Toto. They're more kind of what's known in rock is more of a West Coast type sound, and that was the prevailing influence on much of my latest CD.
When it comes to your music and all, how would you best describe it? Or do you think you focus on one genre, or do you blend into more?
I really find it difficult to pinpoint on any one specific genre at all. I like to have a blend. I describe myself as rock, pop, progressive singer-songwriter. And I realize that most people have difficulty just making sense. What exactly am I? And I've been criticized for that too by people in the actual business when I would present my music to them. Mind you, I really don't spend much time presenting my stuff to the music business. I try to just appeal directly to the consumer, and they don't seem to have a problem with it. So I think the main thing is just to be unique and do what turns you on and what fulfills you. And if that doesn't fit into someone's category, I think that's not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a good thing. Business people, of course, wouldn't agree, but I find the people who buy my stuff seem to share my view with this.
That's definitely a good point when it comes to the quote-unquote music business personnel, if you will. I mean, I guess that's maybe just didn't interest them or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, it doesn't fit into today's music. I mean, I don't know, but overall, it's all about the fans and how they feel about it. And as long as they like it, then that's something to lean on. That's something that you can look back and say, hey, these I got a following. They care about my music, and that's all that matters. At least that's what I think.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kenny, on that point. And really, the people who've supported me most, for some reason, I seem to get the most support from Europe. In fact, I don't know why that is, but I think one possible reason, particularly with younger people in the United States, is they've been just programmed to believe, you have to have a specific genre with your music. And if you look at someone in their 20s, I mean, their whole life it's been like that. And I mean, the same is a little less true to people who are older, like myself. But it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to overcome if you're a young person to see through that.
Absolutely, man. So, do you have any music, or better yet, new music or upcoming shows you have in the works?
Well, at the moment, I don't have any shows right now. Summer just ended, and I do perform locally here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul with a cover band by the name of The Radio. I perform out with them on a regular basis. However, I am pursuing a new CD of solo material at the moment, and I have 8 songs ready to go. And I'm going to be hopefully going into the studio, cutting a couple more demos shortly, and then I've started working on basic tracks for the new CD, and in the near future I hope to put together a fundraising campaign for the new album.
That's awesome, man. I definitely will keep y'all posted on that when that fundraiser definitely begins. So, for people that wants to learn more for you and listen to your music, what are some of the websites people can check out?
Well, there is www.rodkinny.com, my personal website. I am also on Reverbnation. I'm on MySpace. I am on West Coast AOR, that site. If you go to my website too, it will. There's a place you can go that will feature. It'll show you all my links as well. I'm also, of course, on Facebook as well.
So everybody go check out all the links that Rod has mentioned, and especially the Reverbnation. And you are ranked on Reverbnation when it comes to the Minnesota area. How do you feel about at least being ranked there? What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm glad I am at least ranked, I guess. It's something. And sometimes, just being in this, doing music, being an independent artist, it can be really discouraging at times. I guess even if I was at the very, very bottom, I'd still be doing this regardless. I mean, it's amazing. as you might have found on Reverbnation, there are very little-known artists out there that are just incredibly talented. And then sometimes you'll see somebody who's number one or number two, and they're quite shrill and not the most pleasant to listen to, I find. So there are a lot of really hidden gems out there, I find. But I'm really happy to be ranked where I'm at, and I'm really very pleased to just meet people and have them listen to my stuff.
Speaking of people that does listen to you, music, it's kind of a segue to the next question. What's the feeling you get when people reach out to you and say, like, I like your music. Your music, it gets me through hard times. Music is definitely a form of expression, and also it can touch people. It can impact people's lives. What's the reaction you get when people say that music like yours is something that people not only listens to, but it's just something that gets through the day?
Well, first off, a very deep sense of gratitude for anyone who's listened to me, who's supported me. I really feel fulfilled. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile, and I hope I try to bring a bit of magic, so to speak, to what I do, and if people can feel that, that makes me feel fantastic and fulfilled and really thrilled and excited.
That's awesome, man. And my last question for you is, what would your advice be to anyone out there that wants to pursue music, that wants to be a singer or a songwriter or part of a band? Like, what would your advice be?
Well, it would be, I think, to really realize your own vision, first of all, and to I think Sting once said to his children, he has two kids who are musicians, and he basically told them, once you start going strictly for money, you're not going to be very happy in this business. It's your fulfillment basically isn't going to be there, and there really isn't, this magic prize, for doing this at all. I really make next to nothing doing this, and I think the fulfillment comes in to just touching people and having people discover you one by one. And I would say just to really always do good work. I guess that would be my best advice.
Well said, Rod. Well said. Well, that about does it here for this interview. I want to thank you, Rod, for joining me and for your knowledge and your wisdom and your perspective. And just congrats on everything you have done up to this point. Definitely looking forward to this fundraiser, and hopefully can lead to your next record coming out in the future. And just thank you for your time, man. Best of success goes out to you.
Oh, thanks very much, Kenny. I do really appreciate you having me on again. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone else, for listening. This will conclude the interview.